What's up everyone? Welcome back to more Trails to Azure. We are still currently in, I believe, day 2, and we're nearly done with the last half of the request, so we're about close to moving on to the story, if anything. And yeah, I'm pretty much looking forward to it, everyone. So if anything else, hope you all continue to enjoy. Thank you again for our love and support, and let's do this. Alright everyone, welcome back. We're about to continue on with this new quest called, I decided to go with One Born Every Minute. The situation in the village has changed since you were here yesterday. We are once again requesting that you make an investigation into the suspicious merchant. So, we have to go to Chief Tota. Anything else here? Hold on. What about not the taste, that's the third day, right? And then some packages are addressed wrong. Excuse us, you put in a request for the special support section? Ah, hello there, Triple S. I can't tell you how glad I am that you're here to help with this again. Yes, thank you very much for coming. Can you tell us what's happened since yesterday, Chief Tota? I understand there was a new development in the case. Yes, that's correct. I fear the situation is more dire than we originally thought. I'd like to discuss it in depth with you all right away. Would that be alright? Of course. Right now is fine. Please fill us in on the details. You mentioned that the situation has changed since yesterday? That it has. Yesterday evening, I went to the Ash Tree Inn in another attempt to persuade Derek. I told him that Minnith character was far too suspicious and that he had to break ties with him. You didn't beat around the bush, huh? Not for a second, but in the end, Derek still refused to listen. However, I did learn something new. And so I hurried here to discuss the matter with Mr. Hayworth. Something new? Has Minnith taken some form of action? What Chief Tota told me caught me off guard, if I may be frank. Minnith's grip on the village is far tighter than we had given it credit for. Would you mind elaborating? From what we learned yesterday, several villagers already trust him. Has it gone further than that? Well, you see, Minnith has not only secured the private property on Odamorica Road, but also the deeds to numerous plots and fields in the village itself. He what? As shocking as that is, one question comes to mind. How was he able to pull off something that big? Good question. From what we know, Minnith pitched a plan to increase Amorica's lotus production, as he puts it. By slowly accumulating deeds to the villagers' farmlands, he could expand the lotus fields and streamline their harvests. Moreover, management of the plot themselves would be contracted to the Quincy Company to reduce their required labor. Every time he says Quincy, I keep thinking of Bleach. That does line up with what we heard yesterday. At first blush, it sounds like a pretty good deal for the villagers. Yeah, too good to be true. As long as those deeds are in Minnith's hands, he can abuse the land in any way he wants. There'd be no coming back from that. Indeed, the man cannot be trusted by any means. Had he solely focused on the private property of ours, even the worst case scenario wouldn't be too terrible. But now that he's using plots of land within the village, the results could be catastrophic. You guys might be out of luck when it comes to breaking that contract though. That's where you come in. If you can expose him, then perhaps the contract can be voided. I know there's nothing criminal happening on the surface here, but even still, can we ask you to look into this? Well, the Triple S has never actually been all that beholden to CPD protocol. That is in fact very true. We've done a lot of things outside the CPD's protocol. Our job is to support the citizens when they request it. You've given us enough reason to find Minnith suspicious, so we'll gladly help. Thank you, Detective Bannings. All of you have been our village's guardian angels. Where should we begin the investigation? I'm at a bit of a loss on that myself. Me too. It's not as if we have any smoking guns to look into. True. In that case, why not ask Ian for assistance? Do you mean Mr. Grimwood? Yes, granted we're only working off our suspicions at the moment. But if you explain the situation to Ian, he may be able to find a trace of something illicit in Minnith's actions. That sounds like a good idea. Even a shred of evidence against Minnith would be a good starting point for the investigation. I should warn you though, Ian's been incredibly busy ever since the mayor advocated for our independence. There's no guarantee he'll have the time to see you. Only one way to find out, off to the Grimwood Law Office. Maybe we'll catch him, maybe we won't. We'll cross the bridge when we come to it. Yeah, let's go pay him a visit. We'll leave you to it then. I'll ask my business associates if they heard any rumors about Minnith or the Quincy Company. We'd appreciate that. thank you everyone. You're the only ones I can count on. I'm so powerless in all of this, it's just pathetic of me. Don't worry, Chief Tolta. We'll handle it from here. You just sit tight and relax. And maybe pray to the goddess for good luck while you're at it. Very well. I'll be waiting for you. One born every minute. Okay. Yeah, they're supposed to head over to West Street, right? Because that's where Ian is, and yes. Oh, Mr. Grimwood. We were afraid you might have been out of your office. Ah, yes, I was just in the middle of taking a much-needed break, but it would seem you're in desperate need of my counsel. Is it really that obvious? I've seen those looks on your faces coming through my door countless times by now. Please take a seat. I might be busy, but I'm happy to lend you an ear. Our apologies, and thank you. Lloyd and the Triple S explained what they learned about Minnith and his actions throughout the past 24 hours. They also mentioned that Minnith had been collecting deeds to plots of land in Amorca village. I see. This is quite a predicament the village has found itself in. A case such as this would typically be a top priority for me. But as you know, I've been busy this past week drafting up a preliminary constitution for the mayor. I apologize, but I won't have time to handle this case personally. That's unfortunate, but we understand. We suspected that would be the case. Still, even just a consultation would be helpful. Very well, I'll give you any advice I can while you're here. We appreciate it, Mr. Grimwood. So, do you have any insight on this? At this point, there's no evidence of Minnith engaging in any unlawful activity, at least as far as we can tell. Is there something we're missing? I do have one idea. Damn, already? Possibly. An Erebonian contact of mine once provided me with some reference material for a very similar case, though I can't say the circumstances are an exact match. Any lead that could help us with the investigation is a good one. If you think this other case is worth mentioning, we'd be happy to hear about it. Very well, I can hardly refuse you. From what I recall, several years ago, a man visited the estate of an Erebonian baron. He introduced himself as Rittner, an enterprising businessman working for a famous brewing company. Rittner presented the baron with an opportunity to become rich beyond his wildest dreams, and quickly at that. He proposed that the baron's barley fields, which had been passed down from the family for generations, be used to establish a brewery. The facilities would be constructed on the barony, and his family would be responsible for managing them. That was the idea anyway. Hold on a second. What you're telling us is awfully reminiscent of what's going down in America. The Baron accepted the deal and signed Rittner's contract. Then, under the pretense of constructing the brewery, the fields and a portion of the Baron's land were temporarily transferred to Rittner. Moreover, the Baron converted his assets into capital for the sake of getting the business off the ground. However, Rittner soon disappeared with both the deeds and the capital, never to be seen again. Ooh, I'm beginning to think Derek made a bad call. Although that was already an obvious thing from the get-go. The hell? The Baron and his family panicked after suddenly losing contact with Rittner. At the time, they had no idea of the gravity of what was about to unfold. To their shock and surprise, they learned Rittner had sold the deeds to a third party. The land was to be repurposed into a villa resort. Today, it stands as part of the suburb instead. In the end, the Baron's family racked up a substantial debt. Before long, they had lost their entire territory. With that, the family was stripped of their rank and they vanished without a trace. Damn, that's one hell of a story. That man conned them into giving up their property and sold it right under their noses. Who would even do such a thing? Your investigation immediately reminded me of that case. One person lies to earn another's trust before running off with a large fortune. It's a common strategy for committing fraud. Fraud? If this case is the same, then Minnith may not be a Quincy Company employee at all. He would simply be a con man trying to swindle Amorica for all they're worth. Precisely. I can't say for certain that's the case here, but I'm concerned it might be. I agree, there are too many parallels between the story and our case. It'd be best if we shifted our focus to investigating this as a potential act of fraud. That changes the kinds of leads we should be looking into. Exactly. As far as Minnith goes, there are two major areas that stand out to me as suspicious. First, the plan of his. We need to find out whether or not he's actually done anything to establish this Amorican honey company. We could probably figure that out by following the Mirror Trail. You'd have to apply for a bank loan to open a business in Crossbell. If it's all a sham, then we'll find the evidence we need at the IBC. The other point of concern is whether Minnith's actually an employee of the Quincy Company. The Quincy Company's headquarters aren't in Crossbell though, so that'll be a little tougher to ferret out. I may be able to help with that. We should try stopping by my grandfather's home. The McDowell estate? Why? There should be a brochure about the Quincy Company there. It outlines how the company operates. We may be able to find some useful information. What's something like that doing in your Gram's pad, Mademoiselle Ellie? Well, because I happen to enjoy making sweets, alright? I once took an interest in Quincy Company, so I ordered one of their brochures. Last I recall, it was on a shelf in my old bedroom. I almost couldn't read that line. Then again, I doubt a simple brochure would have all the information we need. I wouldn't be so quick to discount the possibility. It's official Quincy Company material. You might be able to find something that conflicts with what Minnith said. It never hurts to cover all of your bases. Agreed. Let's drop by the McDowell estate too and see how it pans out. Thanks for all your invaluable advice, Mr. Grimwood. Because of you, we finally have some leads to chase down. Always happy to be of service. Just to confirm, you said you were using the Hayworth residence as a base of operations, yes? Yeah, we are. Very well then, I'll lend you my help with this case for as long as time permits me. Though unfortunately, I can't make any promises given my other responsibilities. It's not a problem at all. You've already helped us immensely. It's nice having a professional in the neighborhood we can lean on. I'll try to meet up with you at the Hayworths later. Good luck with your investigation until then. Thanks, Mr. Grimwood. Okay, let's get this investigation underway. To start, we'll need to go to the IBC and look into Minnith's plan regarding the American Honey Company. It'll be a good idea to swing by the McDowell estate for that brochure, too. Something in there might contradict Minnith's words. That gives us a total of 2 leads to follow up on. Roger, we won't rest until we find that evidence. I mean, we're right there. We may as well go to the McDowell residence first. And then make our way to IBC. The thing is, wrong way. The thing is, I always confuse Ellie's pad for this other dude's. But we'll find out right now. It should be... I'm torn. I think it might be this one. Yep, I was right. Okay. McDowell stated. They said her room, right? Master Henry has been preoccupied dealing with the ramifications of the Independence proposal. He's meeting with Mayor Croy at Orcus Tower as we speak. Now, if only we could pay that much attention to his health. Let's see. Oh, here it is. This is the Quincy Company brochure I mentioned earlier. Dang, they even had this sucker bound. Can't say they didn't put any effort into the thing. They have ample resources to do so considering the size of the company. Whatever is written inside should be sufficiently credible. Then it's a good thing we stopped by for it. Alright, let's take a closer look inside. As the leader in confectionery manufacturing, the Quincy Company strives tirelessly towards its next innovation. This brochure aims to briefly introduce the methods and creeds that drive our passion. We believe the key aspect of our confectionery is its taste. Otherwise, how could anyone enjoy it? With this belief as a core tenet, the Quincy Company refuses to compromise on the quality of its products. Our factories are fitted with the latest equipment and operate with the utmost attention to hygiene. Here at the Quincy Company, we are particular not just about the quality of our ingredients, but where they are sourced as well. Our product development pipeline, too, is run with the strictest of standards. Prototypes are personally sampled by our executives, who, after many meetings, decide whether a product is worthy to go to market. Only then can they reach the production line. This has been a Quincy Company tradition since its founding, such that we may deliver our valuable customers nothing less than the finest confectionaries to enjoy. It is the commitment to excellence that has made the Quincy Company the exceptional confectioner it is today. I'm not sure what we were expecting. This is all just your typical corporate double talk. Did anybody manage to find a contradiction between this and something Minnith has said? Not in particular. Maybe coming here for this brochure was a waste of time after all. Actually, I did notice something. You did? Oh, I get it. You just activated the old detective mode and bam, right? Well, don't leave us hanging. What'd you find? If you remember what Minnith told us at the hotel yesterday, the answer is obvious. It was only a passing remark, but it still comes into major conflict with what's written in this brochure. Enough to prove that he isn't, in fact, an employee of the Quincy Company to begin with. You got that much out of this one little pamphlet? That's right. You see, if Minnith... Sorry to cut you off, but where's the fun in spoiling it all now? What are you talking about? Well, if I'm being honest, it's annoying that you're the only one who's figured it out. So why not give the rest of us a chance and save it for when we interrogate Minnith? Wazzy, this is an investigation, not some game. I agree with Wazzy, actually. Your hypothesis might not be accurate after all. As a precaution, we shouldn't let ourselves be swayed by a mere hunch. Not to mention, I don't appreciate you stealing the spotlight with your detective mode, as Randy put it. Why do I get the feeling that second comment was the real reason she doesn't want me to share? Fine, if you two insist, instead, I want you all to consider everything we've learned so far. I'll summarize the main points of the brochure in the detective notebook. All that's left is for us to visit the IBC and let's see what we can find out there. Lead the way. Alright, I think we're good. Is there anything else here? Double checking. Oh, that's it? Okay, I thought we took it with us. Alright, we can hit the IBC now. Man, I love these shortcuts. Makes my life so much easier. Alright, Lanfei, long time no see. Hello again, Triple S. What can I do for you today? Well, we'd like to ask for the IBC's cooperation with an investigation we're working on. Would it be possible for you to do an account search for us, Lanfei? We're hoping to look into some suspicious mirror transfers from a certain depositor. You want me to pull up private information on one of our clients then? Doing so is within company policy if it's related to a criminal inquiry. But would you mind telling me the details of the situation first? Not a problem. Lloyd provided all the information they had on the suspected fraud case. I see. I believe I understand the circumstances now. Would this be sufficiently probable cause for us to conduct a search? Cracking down on these kinds of things is in the bank's best interest too. Fraud would damage your reputation. You are correct, and this is related to a legitimate investigation. I can help, but you'll have to settle for me simply telling you what I can pull up on the terminal screen here. That's more than enough, if you would please. Very well. First, let me search for an account registered under the name Minnith. A Moroccan honey company, subsidiary of Quincy Company. And nothing. There we are. We do indeed have an account open under that name. Okay, what does it say? Hold on. Well, what happened? Did you find something incriminating? Well, I don't have the authority to tell you the exact balance on record, but I will say that the Moroccan honey company has no more than a minimum deposit in its account. What exactly does that mean? Basically, corporate accounts require an initial sum of capital to open. In this case, the base amount is all there is. From what you've told me, that would leave tens of thousands of mirror unaccounted for. Minnith has the construction of the factory, management of the fields, and more to cover. It is simply impossible for any minimum deposit to be capable of financing all of it. That much is clear. And despite him holding the titles to the land and signing several deals, the balance hasn't changed a single time. It's suspicious to say the very least. By which I mean this account appears to have been made for the sole purpose of gaining Derek's trust. Things clearly aren't adding up here in more ways than one. Yeah, this is just the kind of evidence we needed. We appreciate your cooperation, Lanfei. Not at all. I'm glad I could be of assistance. Should you ever require anything more, please don't hesitate to ask. We'll keep that in mind. Okay, we now have material on every suspicious aspect of Minnith and his plan. Let's make our way back to the Hayworth residence. Got it. Alright, we got everything we need. This one was a very interesting quest. I liked it too. I mean, we haven't completed it yet, but I like where it's leading to. Alright. Let's go back to Hayworth. Ah, it's the Triple S. There you all are. Mr. Grimwood, I'm glad you can make it. Did you just get back yourself, Mr. Hayworth? Yes, I finished asking my business associates about the matter at hand. How did things go on your end? We were able to round up a few leads thanks to Mr. Grimwood. How about you, Mr. Hayworth? I did just the same, in a manner of speaking. You see, I'm not quite sure what to make of it all. Well, you went through the trouble of digging up that info, so you may as well share with the rest of the class. Agreed. The information may be beneficial to our investigation. I suppose you're right. I asked my business associates if the name Minnith rang any bells, having never heard of it myself. What they informed me is that he's been making inquiries into certain markets since arriving in Crossbell. And what market would that be? Land prices in various locations throughout Crossbell. Land prices? He sounds more like a real estate agent at this point. Why would a Quincy company employee even need that kind of information? The answer to that just might be instrumental in helping us figure out Minnith's true objective here. You think so? It's certainly something worth considering. Incidentally, I may have discovered something else of note since we last saw one another. Huh? Harold, Chief Tolta, could I ask you to help me find something in my office? At your office, Ian? I don't mind, but is it important? Well, it isn't substantial enough to prove anything in and of itself, but we may be able to use it as a final nail in the coffin once you've pinned Minnith down. You really got something like that up your sleeve, Grizzly Grim? Possibly, but we may not make it in time, so please don't wait for us. You ought to get to Amorca Village as quickly as you can. If Minnith is the criminal we think he is, then his plan could very well be in its final stages as we speak. I'm confident, however, that the evidence you have on hand will be enough for you to solve the case. Best of luck, Triple S. Got it. Thanks, Mr. Grimwood. Okay, guys, off to Amorca. It's time to reveal Minnith's true colors and stop his phony deals dead in their tracks. Right. Alright, let's do it. Let's complete this quest. If I remember... Let's take the car. I'm already forgetting where it is.
Yosh, 行くか。どこに行こうかな。
Okay, Amorca right here.
さあ、行くぞ。よし、着いたぞ。
Let's do this. Oh, I didn't like that. Damn it. They already closed the deal? U6 again. The special support section. Derek, Minnith, we have a few things we'd like to ask. What kind of agreements were you hoping to conduct today? Huh, meddling in my affairs on my father's behalf again, are you? Please, Derek, there's no harm in answering their questions. After all, our plan has already been set into motion. And what do you mean by that? Right before you all arrived, Derek and I finished signing the requisite paperwork. In doing so, we have arranged to expand the operations of the Lotus Fields lent to me by the villagers. The Quincy Company will then take over the management of the fields. What? You signed away the rights to almost all the village's agriculture? Is this really what you want, Derek? What are you talking about? Nothing is changing. I'm only transferring management of the fields to him. Yes, of course. It's quite simple, really. With my company harvesting the honey, we'll be able to streamline production of the candy. A temporary transfer of the land rights to my company is the necessary first step to facilitate the process. What a crafty bastard. This scheme has reached its final phase, which means... Now then, Derek, I'll be delivering this contract to our main office. We'll be in touch come tomorrow. Look forward to good news. Sounds great. I'll be waiting. Lloyd! We can't let him get away. Before you go, Minnith, we have a few more questions. Oh? And what might they be? Well, for starters, are you aware of the allegations leveled against you? The primary of which, of course, is suspicion of fraud. What? That's absurd! How dare you insult Minnith like that? Now, Derek, please calm yourself. Minnith! The special support section, was it? What could possibly make you suspect me of being a common criminal? Surely you have some manner of proof of your claim. That we do. Intriguing. Why don't you tell me all about it then? But first, let me remind you that I am an Imperial citizen. If it turns out your allegations are indeed entirely baseless, I will do what I must to right that indignity, police officers though you may be. That's fine with us. Lloyd! Don't worry, Ellie. Let me handle this. Based on our investigations, there's no doubt in my mind that Minnith is guilty. I'm going to expose him as the fraud he is and show Derek the truth. How very glib. If that's how you want to play this, then go right ahead. I'll answer anything you like. Well, your first question? Right, about your actions in Crossbell. There's a contradiction between what you've said and what you've done. Could you please recount your actions for me? A contradiction? Very well. Since arriving at Crossbell, I have been cooperating with Derek to advance our plans. Said plan will result in the formation of the Amorcan Honey Company, a subsidiary of the Quincy Company. It will specialize in producing candy made from Amorca's high-quality honey, combined with my company's acumen. It is a surefire success. The venture has already been approved by the city and is just about prepared to launch. Tell me what is so contradictory about that. Well, everything. This plan is more like a charade from where I'm standing. Our investigation has uncovered a key discrepancy in what you just said. You see, Minnith, his confectionery acumen, that the plan is underway, the potential profitability. Is the plan? No, it's not the plan is underway. The records we looked into that IBC reveal your mistake. You say this plan is prepared to launch. In reality, it hasn't actually made any progress at all. The IBC? What are you talking about? Consider this. If the Quincy Company truly did intend to go through with this plan in Crossbell, it would need a loan from the IBC to fund the construction and development of the subsidiary. Well, yes, of course. I registered the company with the city and opened a corporate account. But that's as far as you went, isn't it? The account for the Amorcan Honey Company contained no more than the minimum balance required to open it. While we weren't told the exact amount, I would speculate it's only in the tens of thousands of mira. Just how were you planning to build a factory and run a business with so little starting capital? You looked into my IBC account? This can't be true, can it, Minnith? Please don't misunderstand, Derek. I never said there was any credence to their claims. I am merely commenting on the audacity it takes to do something so invasive. Forget that. Explain why there's hardly any mirror in that account. Being an executive of the company, I must be especially judicious when moving money around. As such, I can't take out a loan on behalf of the Quincy Company. Of course, I will be securing one from the IBC once I receive permission from the main office. Oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. A deft evasion. Don't count us out yet. I can tell Minnith is getting frustrated. If we continue to press him and pile on the evidence, we can get him to crack. That look on your face tells me you have something more to ask. It just so happens that I do. That was far from our only point of contention about you, Minnith. You're still not satisfied? Don't let them battle you, Derek. This would be a good opportunity for me to clear your mind of any and all doubt. Next, I'd like to ask about you, Minnith. You say that you're an executive of the Quincy Company, but is that really true? Wait, what are you implying? Are you trying to say that Minnith isn't associated with the Quincy Company at all? That's what our evidence points to. Oh goodness me, I didn't expect you to say something so outlandish. How about I show you my business card and employee ID? Those articles could easily be forged. Regardless, we have evidence that would supersede either of those. And we found it in a Quincy Company informational brochure. An informational brochure? Oh yeah, that one in Madame Ellie's room. We record the main points in the detective notebook. The brochure comes from directly the Quincy Company's main office, so there's no doubt as to its authenticity. What's more, there's a clear discrepancy between its contents and what you told us yesterday. What I told you? That's right. Something you mentioned made it clear to us that you aren't the executive you claim to be. Creation of the subsidiary, his history in sales, his dislike of sweets. Allow me to quote a statement you made yesterday. Despite working for the company, I've never been one for sweets. Do you deny this fact? Lloyd, how exactly is that relevant? That's right, I don't care for sweets. What of it? Are you trying to say that someone who dislikes sweets couldn't possibly work for a confectionery company? A confectionery company in general may be, but not this one in particular. What are you on about? Who do you work for? The confectionery police department? This is what was written in the brochure. Prototypes are personally sampled by our executives, who, after many meetings, decide whether our product is ready to go to market. Isn't that curious? What does that... Wait! It doesn't make sense that somebody like Minnith, who dislikes sweets, would be hired by a company like Quincy, not with a tradition like that. Wouldn't you agree? That's... No! I mean... I never said I hated sweets. That's not gonna work on us. You admitted to not liking them in this very conversation. How stupid do you think we are? Gah! So, that raises the question, why would you lie about being an executive of the Quincy Company? It's simple. You intended to gain Derek's trust before ripping him off. This is the only deduction I can make based on the evidence. As for the confectioner seeking to make use of Amorco's honey, the Quincy Company was merely a name with weight to it, one that Minnith threw around as a show of credibility. Minnith, what is the meaning of this? You tricked me? Derek, don't allow yourself to be deceived by these scoundrels. Would you just call us? I mean, think about it for a second. Let's say, for argument's sake, that I did come to Amorco Village for the purpose of founding a fraudulent honey company. If, that being the case, I had an ulterior motive in deceiving my very good new friend Derek, then what was it? Why would I go to such ridiculous lengths? If you have no proof to back your claims, then you have no right to call me a fraud. You should arrest yourselves for slander. We do bear the burden of proof as well as providing a viable motive. As far as the motive goes, I think I have a pretty good idea. What? Are you sure, Lloyd? I barely even started untangling everything that's going on here. Don't worry, I've got this. The person who pointed us in the right direction today also went to retrieve the final piece of evidence we need. The last piece of the puzzle that'll oust Minnith once and for all. Quit with the mumbling. If you have something to say, then out with it. With pleasure. You went to all these lengths to deceive the village with one goal in mind. Monopolizing honey sales, seizing land rights, peddling knockoff Orbital cars, seizing the land rights. Your true objective here is obtaining the land rights to Amorco Village itself. What? A trader we know named Harold Hayworth gave us some information about you. Immediately after arriving in Crossbell, you, Minnith, started looking into land prices throughout the state. If you were employed by Quincy Company in search of new business ventures, this would make no sense. So why do it? I can only think of one possibility. Seizing land was your aim from the very start. It was? Of all the outrageous schemes? There's more to it. Amorco Village is surrounded by scenic beauty, making it a high-value location. Suppose the deeds were sold to a third party as prime real estate for a villa resort. How much mira do you think they would go for? Land like this, I would estimate somewhere in the tens of millions of mira. That said, I don't think the villagers would ever agree to such an arrangement. Exactly. That's what made this whole fraudulent ruse painstaking as it was, a necessity. Now, if we assume your motive was to obtain the land itself, your actions become that much more clear. First, you obtained the rights to the Lotus Fields, the farmland, and the village's private property. Then, under the pretext of returning to your company's main office, you vanish from Crossbell entirely. Finally, you sell the deeds on the black market and pocket the hefty sum of mira they're worth. That, Minnith, has been your plan the entire time. Ugh. Minnith, I can't believe what I'm hearing. Lloyd! Is that... Oh, they're here. Thank goodness, it looks like we made it in time. Derek! Father? Mr. Hayworth? Aren't you from Mr. Grimwood's office? I'm his assistant, Pete. He would have come himself, but he had to get back to drafting the Constitution. Did you come with evidence? That we did. Ian said this would prove to be useful insurance. You're gonna want to take a look at this. Pete produced a photograph of it for everyone to see. It was of a man who looked like a merchant with the same face as Minnith's. The man in this picture is... Why? Why do you have this? A reporter, Mr. Grimwood, knew in the Empire gave this to him a long time ago. However, the name on this photo isn't Minnith, it's Rittner. Rittner, I feel like we heard that name recently. Ah, I remember. It's the name of the man who stole that Erebonian Baron's land, the one Mr. Grimwood told us about. Ugh. Oh yeah, that dude. That's right, I asked Ian about it again and he said there's no mistaking it. Well, this is a plot twist I wasn't expecting. Lloyd, why don't you do Minnith the honors? Tell him the only thing this photo could mean. With pleasure. The reason the man before us, Minnith, and the man in the photo Rittner look identical is... They're the same person. They're twins. Minnith is Rittner in disguise. Minnith and Rittner are one and the same. That's the only explanation. And it's because they're the same person that their MOs are such a close match. Mr. Grimwood came to the same conclusion. This man must have swindling down to an exact orbital science. You're a crook, Minnith. As such, you'll be charged with attempted fraud. This is, of course, on top of the fraud you previously committed in Arabonia. I can only guess how many skeletons we'll find in your closet when we get done with you. I'd very much like to hear all the details in the department's interrogation room. Ugh. Damn you! I am a professional. My work must be flawless. You meddlesome brats! Minnith! Huh. Don't get too full of yourself just yet. You may have won this time, but I won't be apprehended so easily. What? Come, my lovely beasts. I probably should have saved. I was not expecting this. What? Monsters? They appear to be well trained too. These cougars don't freaking tell me. No! Derek! Chief Tota, it's too dangerous. Do you have any idea what you're doing? I know precisely what I'm doing, hence why I'm doing it. Oh, and don't think for even a second about trying to fight me. That is unless you don't value the lives of Derek and the villagers. Now step aside if you would. Ha! Fare thee well. For shall we never meet again? Oh, I thought we were fighting them. Derek! Damn it, we can't just let him escape. After him. Oh, we are fighting. Good. Ah, damn. No! He managed to get away. Ah, I've never been so frustrated. I can't believe a spineless coward like him gave us the slip. At least none of the villagers were hurt. Let's look at the silver lining. What a mess. If we come across him again, he won't be so lucky. For now, though, let's regroup with Chief Tota and the villagers so we can report what's happened. Yeah, that's a good idea. I thought we were gonna fight him. I was about ready. I can't thank you all enough for what you've done today. It's no exaggeration to say that you saved the village from the clutches of that con man. Though, still he got away in the end. Yeah, but now the department knows to keep a lookout for him. It should only be a matter of time before he's caught. Derek? I made a grave mistake, and I put everyone through so much trouble just so they could fix it. I let the man rope me into his scheme, and it nearly cost us all of our livelihoods. Don't be so hard on yourself. You're not the one who's guilty. Wrong. It's my fault completely. No two ways about it. I was so desperate to fix and reform Amorica that I ignored my father and almost drove it into the ground instead. I have no right to become the next village chief. That is where you're wrong. Father? I've been so stuck on the old ways that I've never tried to hear your proposals for what they were. I've known the village will go under if we maintain our current course, and yet I've done nothing. It is my inaction that drove you to do this. Thus, I must bear a large share of the responsibility for letting it happen. That's very admirable, Chief Tota. Thanks to this crisis, I finally realized where I went wrong. The welfare of this village cannot hinge entirely on the ideology of a single stubborn old man. So instead, Derek, I would ask that you provide me your input as well. We will each contribute our ideas and discuss them with the villagers. That is the only way we can ensure a future for Amorica. You're right. I'm so sorry, Father. From here on out, I'm going to dedicate myself to the betterment of the village. I'm happy the two of you were able to reconcile. Same. Makes almost losing your whole village to some crook worth it, wouldn't you say? No. Put a sock in it, Wazzy. Learn how to read a room. I'm really sorry about him. I swear we've tried everything. At any rate, we owe you all an enormous debt, so allow me to express my thanks once more. I also owe my gratitude to Mr. Grimwood. It's a shame you couldn't be here. I'll pass your thanks on to Mr. Grimwood and let him know what happened. Even if I only played a minor role, I'm glad to be of assistance. I look forward to our continued partnership, Chief Tota. Same to you, Harold. If you could keep a lookout for Minnith just in case he returns. And of course, you can always contact the Triple S if you ever need our assistance. Hopefully, it'll never be for anything related to this ordeal again. We'll be sure to keep you in mind. Alright, that takes care of that. That was a pretty long one too, but I liked it. it wasn't truly resolved, but I hope to resolve it before this game ends. So, if anything, guys, I'm going to end it here for today. Thank you all for watching. When we come back, we're going to continue on with the last request at long last, and yeah, move on to the main story. So, if anything else, thank you all, and I'll see you in the next one.